Hello, it is Sunday, February 13th, 2022, and this is Consistency Over Intensity. A bit of a workout that is, fun and interesting and all that kind of stuff. Well, basically, what's going on with Consistency Over Intensity is kind of trying to, not using a very scientific experiment, but I'll read the public service announcement first. Please do not waste your time watching this video unless you have a very specific reason to watch this video. All right, consistency over intensity is a workout that hopefully I can do almost every day. The bare minimum is pretty easy. I did the bare minimum yesterday and got through it in like 11 minutes, even with a silly intro like this. And I like the silly intros. It wasn't that deep of an intro, and now I'm going to go a little deeper on it. And what it is I'm kind of playing around with two ideas. First idea, obviously, consistency over intensity. It's not a very intense workout, but strangely, it kind of is in some weird way, at least towards me. Big part of that is getting rid of the rest periods between transitions, between exercises. Now, I also know I'm not maximizing things because I'm not doing any multiple sets on single exercises, but I am kind of hitting similar body parts with different exercises. So hopefully that makes up for not having multiple sets of the same exercise. The next thing I'm experimenting with is breath and breaking breath down into 4 phases. One phase is when a person exhales. Another phase is when a person holds empty. Another phase is when a person inhales, and the 4th phase is holding full after that inhale. For most exercises, I'm doing 1 repetition per phase of breath. So let's say I'm doing 1 set or 1 cycle of breath. It's going to be exhale, 1st rep, hold empty, 2nd repetition, inhale, 3rd repetition, exhale, or inhale, 3rd repetition, hold full on the 4th repetition. And then once I exhale, I start another cycle of breath. So most exercises, 1 repetition per phase of breath. So a full breath cycle is about 4 repetitions. There's a couple exercises in there I do about 2 repetitions per phase of breath. There's also one exercise on there where I'm doing push-ups. I break down that scenario. I usually try to do 2 cycles of breath with 2 repetitions per phase of breath, and then that I do a 3rd cycle, but I get rid of the holds. So that 3rd cycle of breath is half as long. It's just an exhale, then an inhale. That's kind of fun. Also on my, it feels a lot more energetic if I do, it's probably not the best form, but more energetic when I do calf raises with 2 repetitions per phase of breath. That feels kind of nice. It's nice to kind of go through a few calf raises that way. I've almost experimented with like squats that way, like air squats, no real weight, but that's interesting too. So anyway, got all these things going on. Short version of all this is I start out by stretching, then I do a forearm exercise, and then I do a warm-up set, and then I go on with the rest of the exercises. Today, I might go bare minimum on quite a few, which is just about 4 reps. Then there might be a couple I do beyond a little bit of the bare minimum. And the bare minimum is different for different things. For push-ups, well, the bare minimum might be 8 push-ups, but I try to go a little bit beyond what I consider the bare minimum on most of these things. Good news is even at the bare minimum, I can feel this workout. So I think that's good news. I think this will all cumulatively add up. I think I know when I skip a day, and even if I do something else, I'm starting to get acclimated to this, and it just doesn't quite feel right. So cool. I've talked for almost 5 minutes about it. Let's go ahead and start it out, and I'll probably do more talking while doing it. Cool. Yeah, I think I also did mention that it is February 13th, a Sunday, 2022. My gosh, 2022. Wow. All right. gotta check something first. Just realized. My goodness. Whew. All right. Okay. This will be 63. 63 of these things. Wow. Just wanted to double check that real quick. For some weird reason, it took me that long to double check it, but 63. Whew. All right, let's keep going with that. Feeling better and better. Gotta grab some rubber bands. Rubber bands. Wow. All right. Oh, that's pretty good. That's good times right there. Okay, yeah. The wrist exercise or the forearm exercise. Get to that. You know what I miss? Getting together, playing hacky sack with people. Yeah, I know, I played with my hands right there. You're not supposed to do that. It's actually trying to bounce it back to my foot. Where did that go? There we go. I wonder if I can hit it straight up with the, yeah, the knee's almost going. There's a little, let's see if we can get it a little straight. Nope. Not right now. Top of the foot. Top of the foot, bounce right into the knee. There we go. All of it going towards the right a little bit on me. Oh well, all right. I just remember trying to juggle a soccer ball and then trying to, juggle a hacky sack. Not really juggle with your hands, but with your feet, just one, bouncing in the air. Interesting experience. Okay. Haven't done that in a while. Felt good to do that for 30 seconds. Speaking about another few seconds, let's see what happens here. That feels nice. Sometimes you can really fall into the moment just by exercising, because some of those moments last very long subjectively. Now we're going for warm-up set, and then the actual real weight. For some reason, I kind of like putting my not my fingers, but my feet in that kind of not locked position, whatever it is, where you're kind of, your ankles are set up and your legs really don't move too much on the bench. That's feeling good. All right. I just did a whole bunch of what I consider not investing my time in moving money around and setting up money for an emergency account that I really shouldn't touch, because I'm pretty sure if I do touch, I'll end up getting a $12 penalty. So that's good. That's a good thing about emergency money and emergency funds. You know you have it, but I also have a built-in incentive not to touch it. Yeah, Chase Bank. Set up an account with them. I thought it was going to do something that I wanted to do for kind of a new phase in my life. A phase where I get to help somebody else out. But no, this account's not going to work for that. So I could either close the account or keep the account. And the cool thing about that Chase account, and I looked into a whole bunch of different specifications on it, so I think I'm going to owe $12 on it. I opened it up probably beginning of February, so it's probably been 13 days, and it has to have an average amount in the account of $1,500, and then you get charged zero. But if it's less than that, you get charged what is it? You get charged, oh, let me think here, $12. Yeah, $12. I said it before early in the conversation, so got the $12, and that's a negative, and that's probably going to happen this month. But if you keep it, I think for a year and a half, they give you a bonus of $225, which, I mean, it's, you know, over 10% on your money in a year, which is cool if you leave just $1,500 in it and done. The other thing that they want you to do is if you can't do $1,500, or you can't do an average balance of $5,000. So if it averages out $5,000 over the month, but it goes below that $1,500 line, which it has this month, so I'll be owing 12, but I have, you know, maybe 1550 in there, something 1530, somewhere around there. In there, I should remember the details, but I'm not focused on details, right? I'm focused on global concepts. It's weird how my brain works like that sometimes. So I have to look at my notes for well, I have to go deeper in my head to really figure out where those details were, but I know they're in there somewhere. Anyway, short version is, yeah, you know, 10% on that money would be earning $150. And then you add that $225, so that's $75. So that's about half of $150. So that is about 15% on your money in a little over a year, minus the $12. So still a good deal, less than 15%, slightly less than 15%, maybe like 13% or something. Well, let's see. Well, 1% would be $15, I think. 1% of 100 is $1. 1% of $1,000 is $10. 1% of 1,500 is $15. So we'll knock a percentage off for that $12 that's gone away. So I'm basically earning 14% of my money in about a year by leaving it in an emergency account. And if I really, really need it, pull out that money and close the account. And I don't get that the $225. So, wah-wah. But that's going to be my protocol for that. And I've done that once before, and I have to say, opened an account, kept it for a little while, thought I was going to use it partially for like a side business type thing. Never materialized. I think at that time they were offering $250, and I think you only had to keep $1,000 in there, so it was less strenuous. But yeah, made the account and then decided, you know what, I need to consolidate my money, got rid of the account. I was thinking about getting away from Bank of America, because in some ways Bank of America is kind of the devil, but and I'm sure Chase is too. I mean, that $12 fee is like, whoa, and I think that's going to hit this month. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully the first 30 days is kind of a grace period before you set up the thing, and then you keep it for 13 months instead of 12 months. So who knows? And the good news is I got to open up another account that's set up for the specifics for helping out and stuff like that. So, and none of my own money is going to go into that account. So I wanted the Chase account with my own money in it, because now back to the point where I'm diversifying, but I'm not using it for any side money making. I'm just using it as an emergency bag that I do not touch, and that penalty is enough to make me do not touch it, because hey, if I do real well and very cautious, no emergency stuff like that. I mean, sometimes in life you can't avoid emergencies, but that money is going to be a representative of, a little bit of self-discipline and a little bonus for it a little over a year from now. So I'm thinking March 2023, pull that money out. And hopefully life is like that. Life will be very calm and cool and put together for me. Not looking for excitement, looking for a calm, relaxing life. So, yeah. And hopefully I'll be able to set up that other account and things like that. So, bit by bit, piece by piece, things are hopefully coming together. A couple things have worked out okay. So, I got some money that was owed to me this month, and that's all taken care of. So, that makes me super, super happy. Also, I'm going to invest in, trying to spend more time writing, and literally going to do the digital pen infinite notebook type thing, going to go deeper on that and really enjoy that, really make that something special in my life as far as being able to do that kind of thing, hopefully. Anyway, so that all being said, and now I'm organizing, don't know why I'm talking about this, maybe I'm just airing it out of my head. So I have conversations with people like this. They'll throw some stuff at me that they want to solidify in their mind, and they want to reform it into sometimes a better presentation of their ideas by throwing it my way, and then they can understand themselves better by using me as almost an audio mirror. Good news is I can do that with a camera right there. It feels really weird if there's no camera right there. So this is the excuse for that. And also, this is the stuff I used to talk about when working out with folks and stuff like that. So, this was fun. We'd have a break and we'd talk about something, get lost in some sort of philosophy or idea or points of view, just kind of seeing, the intellectual exercise to see if you present both points of view on a subject that are really, really opposite, and be able to hold those ideas in your head and have them absolutely opposite. Fun idea was like ways to live life, philosophies towards life, like the stonemason philosophy. You hit a stone, nothing happens, but the 1000th hit, boom, or 1023rd hit, it cracks, the stone cracks. Well, it wasn't that last hit, it was the accumulation of all those hits that you couldn't see. Then getting that against your senses, putting your senses as a variable in there, and then having the other philosophy, another opposite philosophy in your head of, and this one doesn't square well because you have the variability of senses in there, but the other philosophy would be the definition, what people consider the definition of insanity, which is, I don't think this is the actual definition of insanity. I think insanity is false beliefs that can hurt oneself or others. That seems like insane to me, but some people say the definition of insanity is doing the same action over and over again and expecting a different result. Stonecutter, same action over and over again, eventually gets a different result, but through massive amount of repetition. The thing is there, it all calls in the variable of our senses to question. If you are a master stonecutter, maybe there's something you can see or feel or absorb within the vibration of the stone that's changing, and you notice, okay, your senses probably have to build up to that. Who knows? I am not a stonemason or a stonecutter or anything like that, so this is all just conjecture at this point. But yeah, those conversations, getting lost in some of those, really entirely too much fun. So, and I feel like I just had that conversation a little bit, although it was totally kind of one-sided. But yeah, that's an idea of two differing philosophies on life, or could be almost polar opposites with a certain level of lack of senses, variable in the middle, and but once you have a level of senses, you know that you're getting a different result every time you hit that stone. It's vibrating a little differently or something. So, yeah, philosophies towards life, and a lot of philosophies work a lot of the time. The middle road, for example, a lot of people like not too much of this, not too little of this, and then some people throw in the middle road plus a caveat, and the caveat is, not mediocrity in all things, but not equanimity in all things, but moderation in all things, including moderation. I thought that was a fun little quote that a friend of mine used to say. Moderation in all things, including moderation, which for him actually turned into a built-in excuse to not do a few things in moderation. But still, it is an idea that plays with one's mind, a person's mind. Trying to get away from using the ones, plays with one's mind. Plays with a person's mind. Get a little simpler with that. Although I do like the idea of ones because it's just less words. I use too many words already in certain things. So anyway, there's that stuff, and there's this stuff. This is the stuff on the plate right now. Let's go ahead and get this done. Yeah. Right before this seems to be a good spot for me to talk. Don't know why. I mean, hopefully I'm not losing the warm-up thing. Oh, this is what I was thinking about while doing the warm-up set. Right shoulder seems pretty good, so we're going to find out. I'm going to try to do obviously I'm going to try to do the bare minimum, which is one cycle of breath, but I might try for a second cycle if the shoulder's feeling pretty good. Yeah, right shoulder. Woke up this morning, I still feel stuff going on there. The stuff is not major. It vacillates, but gradually it's been vacillating to the better. Say percentage-wise, let's say it's hurt 10%, so it's feeling 90% good, and then it goes up to 92, and then back to 91, then 93, then back to 92, then sometimes to 91, then 94, and hopefully continually vacillating upwards. If I had to put a percentage on now, I'm actually thinking 90%, but let's find out. Did a couple extra reps in that first cycle because I got the breathing pattern wrong, so I just pushed it out and just did another cycle of 4 afterwards. Felt like it needed it. That first repetition, felt something go a little bit wonky, telling the muscle to move. At one point, the muscle was like, let me readjust, and then it started moving. So that good. And it wasn't readjusting my grip or anything like that. Fortunately, the grip was pretty good. So, a lot of good stuff going on there. And we'll see how it feels on certain other exercises that kind of give it a little bit of a twinge. Fortunately, that's basically the heaviest exercise for it. Weirdly enough, push-ups rarely ever trigger it. So that's something. Oh, gotta forget. Almost forgot. Not gotta forget. Almost forgot. I'm gonna do the sideways things for the shoulder repetition, or the shoulder healing. I think this is part of the process of making those shoulders feel good. And it's so weird because I used to always feel it in my left, and now my left shoulder just feels rock solid all the time. Thank goodness so. But it took a couple months for it to get back to rock solid. That felt priceless. I guess this is going to be a long one. Maybe not, I'll try to shorten it up. I have this idea that I might want to make an appearance at a Super Bowl festivity type thing. Stop by, eat some food, look at the game for a little bit. Yeah, football, it's cool, it's interesting. But yeah, not really my thing. I'm not really huge into watching sports for whatever reason. I think one thing that really soured me on sports was I read a quote from a book that was and I don't think it's really a quote from like a real person. It's a quote from a book where it's a fiction book, and one of the characters was, he was like, I don't really see the point of watching a whole bunch of young millionaires, paying good money to see a bunch of young millionaires play a game. And that was like, that didn't make sense to me at the time. That kind of added up. Oh, he's talking about his dislike of professional sports. Like, okay. And I think in the books, his best friend or something like that was a guy, like a sports agent or something like that. So it was kind of funny. So, and I think he was like the financial consultant for the clients of the sports agent. And he, even though he made his money, working with their money, he didn't attend games or anything like that. I think that's how that scenario kind of went in those books. Good stuff. Forgot a lot of those stuff in the books. The good thing about forgetting is I can read the same book and get something a little different out of it. My perspective's changed, and if I forget enough about it, then I get a lot more out of it. I mean, eventually I'm going to reread. I think I read them within the last 4 years, though. So I'm going to reread books I haven't read in the last 4 years. And because of that 4-year thing, or 5 years, 2016, so it's 2022. Oh, wow, 6 years. Yeah, since 2016. So 6 years, not 4 years. For some reason, I had 4 in my head. Maybe 4 was like the goal for like 4 years, read this many books. That wasn't a real goal. That was always kind of a passive, kind of like, oh, maybe. Now I could read that many books in 4 years at my current reading speed, which I'm kind of feeling I'm topping out at, but not completely topped out. I still have ways to go before I hit what I consider my soft limit, and then I have to restructure how I read and do different types of speed reading type thing. But if I can speed read at 800 words per minute, that is totally fine with me. I don't have any real ambition to go beyond that. But at the same time, wouldn't it be cool? I know I would have to, once I get to that limit, I'd have to refigure out my system. My system probably only gets me to about 800, and figure out a way to either, change the system a little bit or adopt a completely different system, which is fine. I want to learn a couple different systems for speed reading and get myself to. The good news about my system is, as long as I'm continually reading and having that downtime and, reading at certain intervals regularly, the system takes care of itself. It's not a very fast process, but it does leap up. A couple of years ago, it was 200 words per minute, and then gradually bouncing it up and back to that upwards vacillation. It goes a little faster, a little slower. Read a book I don't like, push it very fast, and then just trying to keep that comprehension level. But the sheer, I can only hold the plots for so many books or so many TV shows or whatnot in my head before I lose track. I remember if I only watched one TV show in a month, I'd be really solid on the details of that. You watch 10, the details of that one go away. Same thing with books. At least in my mind, it seems to be how it works. Man, what was that video game where it was like there was these immortals, but they can only remember like the last 50 to 100 years. Everything else was like, it was the quest to find out what they did basically 600 years ago and who they were and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of interesting, which is kind of like why I like the idea of journaling. I'm going to get a little bit more serious about journaling. Maybe that was a memory thing. For a little while I had this idea that I would have a kid, and all my journals and all that kind of stuff would go to my kid. Which seems like a horrible idea because, people have kids and through no fault of their own, the kids just suck. They grow up and to be, terrible adults. And would I want to hand my life's ideas over to this thing that is just a terrible adult that just by virtue of being, something I raised, hopefully, but would I be a good father? The world will never know. tiny little bonus on that because goofed up on some of the breathing on that last part. Good transitions, no breaths between transitions. So that's feeling a little smoother, a little bit easier than the first time I was doing it without transitions, or without transition breaths. And what I mean by transition breath is, let's say I finish the last set of these, I'm up here. Instead of just breathing out and going right into this, I take a breath. And then that's a transition breath for me. Transition between exercises. So at first it was feeling a little weird, even with super lightweight, having no transition breaths, but I think my body's also adapted. And one thing I should start doing, just testing out the idea of it, not doing it every time, but I'm doing fine without setting my core before doing certain exercises. Then again, this exercise, lightweight, but I'm thinking sometimes I go heavy on that just on my own regularly. Not regularly, but every now and then. And not heavy, but a little heavier. And I feel it the next day sometimes, not all the time. And not much, but that set the core thing, activating the back muscles with that seems like probably a good idea. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and set your core. I think that might be the first or second time I've heard that. And it's a pretty good idea in a lot of ways. Hopefully a couple months from now. I got sick a couple months ago. Not really just a cold thing, just a little bit of a sore throat, but I think I coughed once or twice in a weird way, and I think I tore the inner of the left of my throat right behind where my finger is. And every now and then it feels like there's scar tissue there or something, like a scab. That happens when I do weird things that kind of, like, for whatever reason my throat flexes and then I feel it like that. Like that was barely a belch, but I tried to kind of hold it back a little bit, and holding it back, the weird thing, sometimes hold back sneezes. The sneezes don't affect it, which they probably should, because a lot of force behind the sneeze. But anyway, that's something else. I never used to clear my throat as a kid, and now I kind of every now and then have that need to do that. Go figure. Maybe I'm talking more. Who knows? So I've done 62 of these, I think. I already almost forgot the number. And this would be 63. Wow. Well, it's getting ingrained. And some people say 60 is the magic number for something to become a habit. It hasn't been 60 days in a row, but the most days I've skipped out on might have been 3, which is huge. And then there was time with 2, and then there's been a couple times with 1. So, but good news on the 2 and the 1, I was doing other things too. Other little workouts and experiments and things like that, so that's good. Not completely docile, but it's kind of funny thinking about the idea of, with your training, getting docile and getting savage. I'd rather not use those terms. I'm not going to get savage with my training, but going to be gentle with myself, but gentle and steadfast, I think, is the good rule. Good philosophy for me in my life. Don't know why I wanted to quit there, but maybe it was this lack of transitions that was eating me up. And it's weird because I can move more weight with the press than I can with the curls or the tricep exercise, their skull crushers or whatever they're called. I think Standing Skull Crushers might be the name of it. Horrible sounding name, but really effective and safe and good feeling exercise. Now tricep kickbacks can be super easy or a bit more difficult depending upon how I do it. If I do that slight pause at the end, it increases the difficulty substantially. And it's not even a noticeable pause. That's the weird part about it. And it feels all up along there. And actually, I think that's good for my shoulder too, especially with the pause. Even just doing a full breath cycle of it. Yeah, that felt good. All right. You guys have one more task to help me out with a little bit of upper back work. Just a tiny bit, then you get a break till possibly tomorrow. Hopefully for you, right? Nah, you're up for this. You like doing this. Sometimes I like to pretend my weights. I don't fully anthropomorphize my weights, but but why not, you know? As long as I know it's just subjective and playful. You ready? You're always ready. Talking to my weights, not me. I'm not always ready, but my weights are. There's a lot of interesting splash going on in my shoulders. Even without, I was starting to feel it in my shoulders. Back of the shoulders more or less, but there's like a little bit of thread of feeling going towards the front of the shoulders. And I don't know what that is, but it's probably very good. That's what I'm hoping. Maybe somehow I'm like, not flexing, but somehow blood's going to the front of the shoulders or something. I don't know. Could be good. I think it is. Optimistic. Got a friend named Optimistic. And every time I've ever talked to him, as advertised, probably contact him sometime. My goodness. Feeling it. Part of me wants to shut it down right now. The good news is I haven't shut down any of these workouts, I don't think. I've skipped, and I'd rather shut down than skip. You know, that was proven by a couple days ago, or yesterday. I'd rather do a fast one that's just low hurdle. Just hit the low hurdles, the bare minimum, and get through it in 11 minutes. Well, a little bit more than 11 minutes, 11 minutes and some change, but still. My breath kind of does whatever throughout all those. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to try something a little bit different here. First, I'm going to do this thing where I'm, a little stomach thing, I guess, where I gently walk my feet backwards. Just tiny, tiny steps using the feet in a plank position. Then I'm going to go to the plank, and then I might do like some sort of weird sideways plank type thing. Both of these for my stomach. All right. That's so weird. I do feel it in my stomach though. I'll just do a plank cycle. See what I mean by the 3 cycles of breath? And the shortened cycle near the end. Basically a half cycle because there was no holds near the end. Wow. Good stuff. All right. I'm gonna do that sideways bit right here. That's so weird. My body's not good at that. It's a brand new feeling. I've done things like that, but I don't think I've ever done that specific exercise. Weird. I'll get used to it. Might be doing something good. And it's probably good that I'm not used to it. It's probably hitting my muscles in a way that they're, back to the words, not used to. I really want this to be a pretty basic full body endeavor. Good to get all that out of the way. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. It's been so long. Oh, this feels good in there. It's kind of toasty in there. Here, refreshing. Yeah, I can get used to this. All right, I'm gonna have to turn out a light and come back here. Make sure things are in frame. Oh, there you go. Let's see if everything's in frame. Yeah, that seems pretty good. As good as it's gonna get. Don't have much more lights in here. I have a light that sometimes turns on. I haven't tried that in years. Let's try it. No dice today. Gonna do a quick stomach thing. Not really gonna do any dips, but gonna get the feeling for the quick stomach thing. When I lean forward on that, definitely feeling that in the shoulder, no doubt. Screwed up the breath part. Did try to straighten it out by doing extra repetition on that. So that was one cycle of breath. Goes off in repetition space. As soon as I pushed, my body wanted to breathe in on that second repetition. And I didn't think about it. I didn't stop it. Just let my body do it. I feel like my conscious mind is a 5-year-old who's riding an elephant. That is the subconscious mind. And if the subconscious mind really wants something, that 5-year-old ain't gonna control that elephant. Influence, yes. Control, no. So I put a lot of things in play, hopefully, to control that elephant. Let the elephant know that the 5-year-old has nothing but the best interest in mind for the elephant. Because I can tell you right now, all my elephant wants to do right now is eat junk food, close my eyes and listen to music or something. But it's getting better about wanting to read. Okay, tomorrow night I should do laundry. That's probably a good thing. Get set up for that. Let's finish this thing up. All right, I'm gonna go basically bare minimums. Feeling it?
Yeah, I know. Almost a little too quick on that. But the breath worked. There were no transition breaths. Transition from this to this was a bit weird, but it always is. So I'm thinking, been playing around with the cycle of it, going up or down. I think going down is probably the gateway right there. Yeah, that feels like probably a good idea. What I like to do is make it kind of a almost subtle guideline. Not a bare minimum, but a subtle, small guideline. 2 breath cycles here, 3 breath cycles here, 2 breath cycles here. Kind of get that going and make that transition from, let's do one of these real quick, right into this. Yeah, that feels a bit easier because I can just drop. Gotta be careful, not move the shoulder too fast on it. That's kind of a wonky area to kind of thread the needle. I could see myself messing up some sort of tendon thing or something by going move too fast. Yes, I am going to baby the shoulder a little bit because I am feeling it. And it doesn't like hurt. It's just when I move it, there is movements that cause it to kind of throw out a pain signal a little bit. And I'm going to listen to my body. It says be careful, I'm going to be careful. And it's not like throbbing pain. As soon as I stop the movement, the signal shuts down. So thank goodness for that. So I think that means it's in recovery of whatever injury I developed for it. And honestly, I think a big part of it was, strangely enough, sitting down sideways with my arm like this for like hours, you know. So basically curbing that behavior. And I think this happened on this side too. There was a time where I had my living situation a different way. I had to lay down on my side, but prop my arm up a little bit for, so it was very sideways, but this was propping my arm up, and just being like that for hours probably did something to it. So that's what I'm thinking. That's a distinct possibility to what's going on. So, I mean, it's so comfortable in some places just to do that, but yeah, actually, to come to think of it, when I stop doing that, like when I get out of that position, I feel a little bit of weirdness in my shoulder, so that's probably not a great idea. And then it becomes the idea of just don't do it at all, or do it a tiny bit. Right now, I'm going to go the conservative route and just not do that position at all. Figure out a different position. And it's not like I don't have other chairs, and other places have other couches and other ways to sit that that are comfortable. So there is choice. It's just not necessarily the choice my body wants, if that makes sense. I am so grateful for so many things. That's something I didn't do. Go ahead and heels down on that. I'm not putting my elbows on my knees, but that's okay. And right now I'm feeling it. Heels down, totally feeling that. Now, do this. I can do this for entirely too long. could still do that for a while. I don't think I'm really doing it in any sort of time. Let's try and keep this kind of steady and then vary. Without influencing this too much. It's just kind of separating the mind a little bit. And when I noticed I could do that was a year or two ago. A friend of mine was talking to me while I was playing drums at like an open mic, and he was telling me how it was his birthday and all this stuff. I had a conversation with him. We were kind of behind the speakers, so like the speakers were blown out there, but right here to here, I could have that conversation while playing. I can look at him, not look at the drums, and just kind of get lost in that. And usually my head's kind of down in the drums, so that was cool. And realized, wow, I'm keeping up with the beat and all that, and that the music's taken care of. I mean, of course, it was songs I played 100 times before, so, but yeah, that was a cool realization. I don't think I ever knew I could do that till that moment, and it wasn't anything I really aspired to. It was just like, wow, this is cool. And I remember thinking that while having the conversation. I don't think he noticed. I think even if he wasn't drinking, he probably didn't notice, because he does not play drums. He is a musician, but he does not play drums. And I think for a guitarist to play guitar and sing at the same time might be almost akin to having a conversation while playing guitar. And I think I've been able to do that a little bit as well. At least fiddle around with chords and not solos or anything like that, but play some chords and talk to somebody. Let's see here, D, C, go back to G, special. Trying to get good with like the 4-finger version of D, 4-finger version of C, 4-finger version of G, and then switch to the 3-finger versions. Kind of mute out the strings a little bit, use the top of my hand on the strumming to mute out the, I'm doing a 3-finger version of C, the thick E string, what was called the low sounding E string, gets muted by the picking hand, and also pushing my ring finger up to mute out the A string, and then play that C that way, and then do like almost a similar thing with well, actually no, I gotta actually put it on the guitar, but there was something I was doing akin to that. I think I might be wrong on my string values there, but either way, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm wrong on the string values. And the funny thing is, I almost feel like right now I just need to grab a guitar and, oh, okay, that's the 3-finger, that's the 4-finger. The 3-finger, at least one string, if not two, gets muted out. And I think it's just one. I could be wrong on that. Yeah, it definitely is. I'm down and doing it because it's called the C right there. So the A string's playing the C note. So yeah, I'm just muting out either with either hand, picking hand or fingering hand. Cool. All right, figured that out. Didn't have to pick up a guitar. It should have been obvious, but oh well. Maybe it was the D I was thinking about, trying to mute 2 strings that way with the 3-finger version. Yeah, okay. All right, later it shall be.